This episode of The Mimic's Veil is sponsored by Taste Invader Tea. Treat yourself to 15% off an order of daring and delicious tea at tasteinvader.co.uk using code TMV. And today we welcome our newest patron, Kieran. Hello, Kieran. And on this episode, you can expect a little journey to Survivor's Corner where we talk about yet another zombie survivors, Gunbot Diplomacy, and Hordes of Fate, a Hand of Fate adventure. But first, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So we don't usually do things like this, but I'm going to start talking about the music of Expedition 33 first, because this has easily been the hardest intro music I've had, like the biggest challenge I've had picking intro music so far.
And I'm assuming that's not because of the lack of choice, it's because you couldn't narrow it down to which one you wanted to pick.
Exactly. Let's put it in perspective of the immense soundtrack, and it is fantastic. There are 154 tracks, so
that's quite a lot.
Yeah. So the OST is 8 hours long, and it's all good as well, and it's all really varied. So yeah, the one that is slowly fading out as we're chatting now is the cream of the crop today at the time of selection, but. That I could have picked anyone at random and it would be perfect.
How many times did you change your mind?
Only a couple of times. I had two in mind, but yeah, this one is just a personal favourite. But it's just even the story of how they found the composer for this is different. So obviously a lot has been made of, this game has been made by 30 people. Obviously that's bollocks because it's a core team of 30-ish people plus God knows how many contractors and performers and outsourced stuff. But the way that they found this amazing composer, so he was a school teacher and he just randomly posted something on a forum, like a link to his SoundCloud page on some obscure French game developers forum or something. And the director of this found it. And it was like, come and, make some stuff. And now he's composed what will arguably be the best soundtrack of the year. Which is just mad.
I doubt he's a school teacher anymore.
No. He's definitely wasted in that. But yeah, I think, as I said, a lot has been made of the size of the team compared to the scope of this game. And I think that is like... I don't know, there's something really beautiful about that. Like, it's almost like, it's got some ex-Ubisoft people have made it, but also they've just picked, you can come and do this. There's like this scrappiness about it, and yet the finished article is so polished and unique and honestly better than so many other things in the same genre. So it's like for anyone that isn't aware, I mean, everyone's talking about the game, but like it's a JRPG effectively, but made in France. So we could call it a JRPG.
Oh, lovely, Ben.
But yeah, it's a homage to, or a gommage, which would make sense to anyone that's played it, to JRPGs, and it's a shame Lewis isn't here today because I was all ready to sort of pitch to him why he would like this game so much.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff that he's embarrassed about a JRPG or doesn't enjoy about a JRPG, it's just gone out of here. So the same way as he enjoyed dungeon encounters because all of that bollocks is stripped out, this goes straight into the good stuff and straight into the gameplay, and you're sucked right into the story. It's not like, play so and so, and just give it 10 or 20 hours and you'll love it.
Yeah.
There's none of that at all. It goes straight into it, and there's none of the sort of cringiness. There's none of the kind of melodrama that you get in a traditional JRPG. It just cuts straight to the chase and cuts all the fat off, and it is incredible. Incredible.
And I think in everything that we've seen on the way up and the build up to this, that was what they were going for as well, wasn't it? Like, we want to pay homage to these JRPGs, but we want to do it to the best bits of everything that we love about that. And that seemed like such a grand aspiration, but for them to deliver it and deliver it in such high regard and such a polished manner as well.
Yeah.
It's really hats off to a team, as you say, that was not thrown together, but they weren't exactly like this team who'd worked together for a long time and knew how it was all going to work. It was just let's put a bit of faith in you, and let's put a bit of faith in you, and the magic just seemed to happen.
Yeah, and it's almost like this sort of it's such a confident game, but that it's so well chiseled. So it's not only cutting out all of that JRPG bollocks, but it's even their sort of adherence to a design philosophy almost of even like there's no HUD whatsoever. There's no map. It's just everything is just look at this beautiful scene. Like it's just there's just a sort of a purity about it, and it's obviously looked at all those JRPG tropes and gone, all right, we love that, but this bit could do with a bit of updating, and do we really need this? And it's just, yeah, I'm so impressed by how they've stuck to that philosophy, like almost to a fault, because I could definitely see people getting pissed off with there not being a map, or you're so used to having a little marker to tell you where to go next in a JRPG. And even though the areas you're going through are pretty linear, so it doesn't really matter if you get turned around a little bit. I just admire it. I love it, but I admire it as well for the whole philosophy behind it. And I think it's quite it's got that sort of French arrogance about it as well, which I appreciate. It's like, yeah, well, we know what we're doing. This is going to be great. Fuck you, kind of thing. I respect that.
And for a change, they actually back it up with the end product. So, I mean, it deserves to be arrogant, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I could ramble about this game probably for the next 4 or 5 hours. But you've played. So I finished it, but you've played what, the first few hours?
Couple of hours, maybe. Yeah. I'm still very, very, very early in it. Mainly just because I knew my gaming time was going to be a bit bitty, and I didn't want to get stuck right into it until I had the time to dedicate to it, because I feel like from everything I've seen from everyone else, it's a game that's going to consume, and I'm like, I want to be consumed, and I don't want to be consumed and have to stop. So, but I was so impressed when I started this, and I think, Ben, you were right to start off with talking about the music, because I think for me, I think that people that listen to this podcast or know I'm not necessarily the one that picks up in music and podcasts, but it hit me straight away. You just feel like it's so beautiful, like it's the whole presentation of it is so beautiful, like from the way you're going in this setting that's maybe not necessarily the happiest of settings, but it's still like stunning in the way that very first few scenes over the rooftops and things like that, as you're starting to see this bit of the world for the first time and kind of just understand a little bit of what's going on. It almost takes your breath away straight away. And I completely agree in terms of like taking all the fat, trimming the fat away from it, because you do very, very quickly. I mean, from the first hour, I knew you kind of knew what the story was going to be about from just listening to what was happening with the game, but you got it more or less straight away from that introduction, and you're like, well, this is like the team, and they are going to go on this expedition, and they need to. Are they going to be the ones that have that saved the day after the 66 that have gone before them? Like, you kind of get that very quickly. I think it's very well done how they've done that, and very well tutorialized. I think some of the tutorials are quite pathetic.
Yeah,
but I think it almost treats you with a bit more respect in how it gives you tutorial in this game rather than just being like, oh, you press it this way to go this way, and you're like, no, it at least kind of teach you that. Teach you maybe respect your times, maybe a better way of putting it, rather than like saying, let's teach you the absolute basics and make you do it 150 times before you make sure that you've got it. And
yeah, that's a great point actually, and it goes back to that stripped back philosophy of it. Of we're not going to beat you over the head with this premise. Like, here is this cool premise that we've set up. Here's the kind of the human costs of it, the effect that it's having on everyone emotionally. Here's a bunch of French words you don't understand, but don't worry, we expect you'll understand this soon. Rather than, take like a Xenoblade or a Monster Hunter or something like that, where every 5 seconds you're getting a pop up to say, this is blah 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 blah, and this is what this means, and press X to do this, and there's just none of that at all. And it's just almost like the developers have just put faith in themselves, but also faith in the player to, look, you've played a video game before, you're going to work this out, kind of thing. And that's, the whole respect for the end user and their time is amazingly rare, because a lot of games are so handholdy, right?
Absolutely. I mean, some tutorials just completely put you off because they handhold you so much. You're like, I don't need to know this in this level of detail, or I don't need to do this many times. Like, let me experience the game. I've got it. Don't have me sitting here for 20 minutes before you actually let me into the game. Just let me go. And I think this is very good at doing that, and just been like, we'll pick a bit more up as we go, and we'll teach you what you need to know when you need to know it. And we'll teach you in quite a straightforward way. We'll not be like, I think I want to use the word patronising, but I don't think that's
I think that's
kind of is
fair.
what I mean, but it's not patronising in any way.
Now, not meaning to be patronising, but how have you got on with the parrying in the battles? Because it's turn based, but there are real time elements in terms of you can power up your own attack if you hit a button prompt in the right time, but you can also dodge or parry enemy attacks. How's that treating you as the least parry of us?
As the least parry, like I'm not Katy Perry as we know, but I have been dodging rather than parrying at this stage. I think I'm working out the dodge before I work out the parry, because I'm more confident with the dodge. And I work up to the parry, because I've not done that much combat at this stage. So I mean, I've managed to be okay with the dodging so far. Not brilliant, but okay. I've tried to parry a couple of times and it hasn't quite paid off. So I'll get there, but I'm not scared of it, which for a lot of games like that, I'd probably be scared of it by now, because I've not been able to do it once, and I'm like, but you don't necessarily need to do it. It just helps.
It helps. Yeah, it helps a lot, and certainly towards the late game, I wouldn't say it becomes. It's pretty near essential, probably, but because that's. Yeah, if you get hit, there's no way to not get hit if you're not nailing, the dodges and the parries. But again, I think it does introduce it, and it knows that you'll get used to it eventually. And the fact that a perfect dodge is exactly the same timing window as a parry, you can train yourself with the safety of a dodge first, and then once you've got that down, you can start parrying. And by the end of it, I would say I was parrying significantly more than I was dodging, which is, something I never thought I would say. Like Elden Ring, for example, I only ever used the dodge button. I never equipped a shield. Like that was it. And I thought, okay, that's me. But yeah, I think the fact that it's turn based makes it easier as well, because you're not worrying about moving around the area. You're just, okay, well, I need to press the button in a certain rhythm, and once I learn that rhythm, I've got this kind of thing. And it's so satisfying when you do get it, when like the enemy's trying to hit your whole party, and you all block, and then you do this big kind of sweeping group attack and take out a shitload of damage. And yeah, that's the other thing I love about it, is that whole Persona, just over the topness of the combat and the UI and everything. Again, getting back to they've just borrowed the coolest parts of the best JRPGs, basically, even down to the point where you can shoot enemies in part of the battle. As the battle system, just do this kind of free aim gunshot thing, which is just cool. It's just cool.
That was one of the first things I done. I'm like, am I supposed to do this? And then you realise, it's taking out this, and I don't know what everything's called yet, but it's using up whatever your bar or abilities, things that you built up. And I'm like, I can't do anything else now because I've used it all in a gun, and now I'm dead. And like, right, okay, I need to learn.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bit to learn, because the only real turn-based JRPG I've ever finished is the Yakuza ones, and they're very different. Just far more bizarre and far more like over-the-top attacks rather than any sort of skill moves within it. But I'll get there.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if this does have an influence over like actual JRPGs from now on. If they go, maybe we should switch things up a little bit, and because it does feel like a genre that obviously it's one that I love, but it does feel very set in its ways and its tropes. So to have this fresh, very European kind of approach to it, I can't think of another game that I have finished and then immediately gone, yeah, I think I could start this again. You know,
that's rare, particularly for a game of this size. Like, and I know it's not. I know in terms of for a JRPG, it's not a big JRPG, but it's not a small game. But at least 40, 50 hours.
I think I was probably about 35 when I finished it. Now it could have taken probably double that, but I didn't do a great deal of like. There's 3 acts, and in the third act, or in any act, but you can basically go around and do stuff, like extra stuff, or you can go straight to the final bit kind of thing, which is what I did. Thinking I'd like to go back and... so I played it on Game Pass. I'd like to have it on PS5 so I can do a platinum run of it and just see everything. And... it's that special where, you know, traditionally I'm a kind of one and done, wham bam, thank you ma'am, move on to the next kind of thing.
I mean, maybe when the powers that be finally let you buy the game, Ben. I mean, I feel like those rules have been twisted again, because I'm very much like, if you've played the game, you can pick it up on another platform. But I think that rule seems to have changed again. Like,
always ever shifting. But that's fine. Like 5th of June isn't too far away, is it? So
it's not at all.
I can wait.
And then you'd be too busy playing Mario Kart when that hits. So yeah.
You say that. I actually woke up this morning and I thought, could I wait for a Switch 2? Because as we've discussed a few times, I'm not that arsed about Mario Kart. And if I can take the wanting a new toy and the FOMO part, if I can rise above that, I kind of feel like I might cancel my pre-order, maybe. But you can't, Ben. We need to be at the forefront of media. Well, you know, as long as you guys
7 weeks behind.
Here's a hot take on the Switch 2, and halfway through July. No, it just popped into my head. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from though, because I mean, if you look at what's coming in the early days, I mean, if you're not that fussed about Mario Kart or the updated versions of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, or Kirby, then why would you necessarily want to buy a Switch 2? Because there's not much else there at launch. Maybe once it comes along to July and Donkey Kong comes and stuff, then maybe. But I get where you're coming from. I mean, I'm going to buy mine because I can't rise above the FOMO. But like,
No. And I would still be very surprised if I can. But it just, that little seed of doubt that I allowed to enter my mind today to just go, oh, actually, I don't think I'm that excited about it for some reason. So maybe I'll be sensible.
Nah. I mean,
I don't know.
This is
Crazy.
probably the least excited I've been for a console launch in a little while. But that my son is incredibly excited about it to the extent every day he's like, can we get 2 Switch 2s? Can we get 2? I'm like, no.
Well, he can have
He's
mine.
like, I'm like, you've got your own Switch now. You can play. No, but I want to Switch 2 because I want to play Mario Kart World. I'm like, you can play Mario Kart World, but with your controller on the TV. You will not touch the Switch 2. And he's like, but I need my own. And I'm like, no.
It's so funny. We had a very similar conversation today talking about entitled kids. And Casper, my youngest, was playing Astrobot today. And then his older brother wanted to play another game on the PS5. And he went, Dad, have we got another PS5 somewhere? I was just like, no, you don't realise. Like, and we obviously, my wife and I had this big lecture, and it was just like, most families don't have any consoles. Some of them might be lucky enough to have one. Look around you. We are surrounded by them. No, we do not have another PS5. And he was like,
But we do have 2 Xboxes.
We do have 2 Xboxes. And in fact, this is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. That's an Xbox. But yeah, he's not interested in Xbox, unfortunately. The slight tangent there. But yes, in conclusion, I don't even know if I can conclude. I feel like I've got even more to say about Expedition 33. But I love it. It is easily front runner for Game of the Year for me so far.
I was going to ask you that because I'm like, can you see anything coming and dethroning it at this stage?
I think the only thing for me that would be like a complete curveball out of the blue sort of thing, or if like Death Stranding 2 clicks way more than the first one did. Like, I really enjoyed what I played of the first one, but I don't know. I can't think what else is coming up. This Clair Obscur feels like a game that has been made specifically for me and my tastes. It's almost like they've gone, right, what does Ben like? Oh, he started to play games with parrying in this year as well. Should we put that in our game? And they've just like gone, everything that I want in the game, there, it's all there, and it's lovely. And
they've just ticked all your boxes, Ben.
Every single one. And I could talk about the performances, the scripts, the story we haven't even really touched on, but it's like all hitting like pure 10 out of 10 on every front. If I had to pick one thing that's vaguely negative, I think the menus are a bit more convoluted than they need to be, and a bit tricky to navigate, particularly so you've got this system where you can kind of augment your abilities with Pictos and Lumina. So
I've seen them, but I've not really worked out what they're all about yet.
And again, it's another one of those things where they kind of throw it at you and know that you'll figure it out eventually. But it's basically, you get, Pictos that will give you some sort of buff or some kind of ability, like get 1 AP back for every successful parry or whatever that might be. And then if you equip that for 4 victories, that then becomes usable as a Lumina, and that means anyone in your party can then use that ability and add it to their pot. And you get 3 Lumina points every time you level up and blah, blah, blah. So it's basically, that's a way to really just change your build completely. So if you get shit hot at parrying, you can go, right, well, I'm going to get all these ones that give me extra energy each time I parry, or, anything that kind of builds on your strengths and just lets you kind of min-max your build a little bit. But the actual menu for that is a bit fiddly and unintuitive. So I think, that took a little bit of playing around, and it's not. It would be handy if you could almost go, like, if there was a few options where you go, I want to build for damage dealing, or I want to build that will augment my dodging ability or something like that. Just a few different options rather than having to go into the menu and go, all right, I need to equip this one and then take this one off. And, so it's just a bit fiddly, but then, I kind of like that sort of nerdy stuff where you can just take a step back from the world and just basically look at a spreadsheet. I'm not against that. But yeah, and the premise is obviously very dark, but as I said, the performances are very good and very human and very grounded. And there's a lot of levity as well. It's actually pretty funny in places, and there's some sort of quirky little silly Final Fantasy-ish characters that you'll meet along the way, stuff like that.
And you kind of get the impression it has a bit of that right from the off, like just some of the characters you meet at the beginning, some of the interactions, you're like, it feels far more grounded than many. Like it, and almost, like it obviously I've only met, maybe 3 or 4 characters at the beginning, and you only have, 2 to start with?
Yeah.
Right, isn't it? But it's just like even those interactions with some of the people, like even in that first little town before you go off and your expedition, and you're like, just something's just so right in terms of the levels that they pitch every sort of interaction at.
It does feel, again, get back to that
genuine,
JRPG
I think,
tropes. It doesn't feel like it's, hey, da 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 da, like, oh, I hear you're going on an adventure today. Like, there's none of that. It's just like more underplayed and a bit more somber, but still jokey, and there's a bit of like gallows humor to it. And I think that whole sequence at the beginning where you're walking around meeting people in the town kind of thing is really, really well done. And when
it's almost so hard hitting that kind of first bit as well. Like when the kind of first thing happens and you really kind of realise what happens. Like it's so. And for an emotional gut punch to be delivered like an hour into a game, like to be able to care about the characters in the world at that stage is like unheard of, to get that amount of buy-in. So honestly, hats off to, what's it, Sandfall Interactive, that's their name, isn't it? Yes.
It's like, I would be, frankly amazed if anything tops this. Not just for me, but like Game Awards, like it'd be hard to think anything will beat it in general, not just for me and my weirdly specific tastes. Like, it just feels like a winner, top to bottom.
I mean, maybe your boxes are a lot more common than you think, Ben.
I do have a very common box. But no, I think if you have never played a JRPG or have been put off by all of the usual JRPG bollocks, this isn't set in a high school. You're not controlling a bunch of teenagers. These are all like 30-something. Well, there's one teenager, but like mostly 30-somethings. And it's just, there's no anime boobs. You know, there's some good-looking characters, but it's not, and there's some feet, actually. So if you control Lune, and when you're running around, she doesn't run, she sort of floats, because she's like the mage, so you can see her feet. So there you go, there's something for everyone. If you like feet.
You feet lovers, you're in for a treat.
You know who you are. But yeah, that's Expedition 33, and it is sublime.
Not a word we use often.
No. Yeah, and it's left me, again, we've spoken about this sort of feeling, haven't we, where you finish a certain game that's really hit you and you just don't know what to play next.
Yeah.
Like, I've been like a lost puppy since playing this.
It's like I want to play something, but nothing's sticking my boxes.
Yeah, I've got exactly. So I'm sure I'll find something eventually. But
You will.
yeah, in the meantime, palette cleansers and things like that, little indies that I've missed or whatever, will be the way forward.
Plenty of them around at the moment as well, to be fair.
Well, tell me about some.
Yeah. I mean, Ben, I've kind of fallen down that hole again.
Is it a hole or a corner?
It's a corner. So this might turn into a bit of an extended Survivor's Corner, but there's been much surviving going on this week.
Amazing.
Much surviving. So there has been some vampire surviving, and we know what that is. I'm not going to say too much about that. There's also been some Deep Rock Galactic surviving, because I'm like, I need to revisit that, and that just gets better and better, and it's really right up there. Like that one just as... I actually don't know if I might actually prefer that to Vampire Survivors. I think it's just something about the structure of it, and we'll come back to that. But one that I was quite surprised at, and do you know how at the moment, Ben, the kind of the thing in the moment is extraction shooters, isn't it? Like, because you've got Marathon coming, and you're like, well, I would call yet another Zombie Survivors the extraction shooter of Survivors, like,
right?
Like, because essentially it's a Survivor's like its heart. It's you have to survive in this area for 20 minutes, or I think it's 20 minutes, this one. But you are like a SWAT team member, is like the first character that you're going in as, and you have to go and like, for every so long you survive, you can go and like rescue someone, you get an SOS call, and then you can build your team up to a team of 3, and then it's like a different little party, and each of your team gets 3 abilities, and you are killing these zombies. And a bit like some of the abilities it builds up. So like the SWAT guy gets like a helicopter strike, and a helicopter comes over your head and shoots everything. And it's much more of like a shooter, but in that format of a survivor like. And it's really quite cool and quite addictive. Been out in early access for a couple of years. I think it was like 2023 it came out in early access. It's still in early access. I think it's like at version 0.8. So I don't think they're quite announced version 1, but I don't think they're far off it yet. But it's got a lot of content for being out for an early access for that long.
What year did Vampire Survivors come out? Was it 22?
22? I think it might have been 23 as well. It might have been 22.
So has this always been called Yet Another Zombie Survivors? That would be I'm not expecting you to have the answer to that. But it's almost like...
I think so.
If it's been in early access since Vampire Survivors came out.
Been in early access since, I think.
Yeah. I wonder if it's gone through a name change. Because it seems like it's like a cheeky nod to the fact that there's so many Survivors games out, doesn't it?
It does feel like that, to be fair. But maybe it has changed its name over time.
Yeah,
I'll need to dig into that and find out.
Do some digging. But is it that obviously it's got a silly name? Is that the tone of the game as well? Like, is it comedic?
Yeah, because I mean, it's not quite comedic because it's like the zombies and the zombies coming at you and like the bosses and stuff. They are a bit daft and a bit silly. It's not like, but it's maybe like in terms of graphics and stuff, it's probably one of the bit more seriously ones. Like it's not as like 16-bit type.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
It's a bit kind of, it does look really nice. And as I say, there's quite a lot of content in there now because it's been in early access for so long. So there's a lot of different abilities. I think there's maybe about 15 different characters to unlock, and then different synergies to work out between their weapons, and then how the upgrades work. So you basically get 3 abilities for each character, but as you upgrade the ability, so like say for the SWAT guy, you start with a pistol as your main hand. It'll move then into like a machine gun, into a shotgun, into all kind of up into, and then you give it one that's like the Huntress, I think she is, and you start with a bow, but then you get a multi-bow, and then you get like arrow rain, and so it just all works quite nicely together. And you level up and everything in all the same ways, and it's just another solid Survivor game, but one that's a wee bit different because you're building up. You're going to work to unlock the different levels, the different characters, and then working out what kind of team of characters you want. So you can choose when you go, like you get the SOS signal when you go to pick up the character. You can either just free them and get them to escape, or you can recruit them into your team, so you can work to get like the right 3 that you like as your build. So like
so there's not
levels at better difficulties.
So is there several characters to choose from?
I think you start with one, and then you can unlock them as you go. So there's 2 that you're unlocking, and I think there's maybe about 15 or 20. There's quite a lot in there. And the same, you can then go and you've got your usual, as you get cash and stuff, you can go and upgrade the power of your starting power for all your weapons and all that stuff. So,
like
all those kind of things. Yeah, nice. All those kind of things that you expect are in there, but you can tell it's been in early access for quite a wee while, and there is quite a lot of content there. But it's like £8.50, so it's not. Again, it's a relatively cheap game for these things. It is still in early access, but I've just been playing it on the Steam Deck, and it's solid.
Nice.
No issues with it whatsoever.
What does a run? How do you end a run? Is it like a time limit, or is it a certain
time limit? Yeah.
What is it, 20, 30?
20 minutes, I think it is.
Okay. That's nice. That's a good length.
Yeah. So that was the first
good one. Right.
The other one has, at point of recording isn't out yet, but as this episode released is out. So I've been playing the demo of Gunbot Diplomacy, which the demo was just called Blast Off, and you can go and check out the demo now still, I think. But the full release came out on the 13th. And if the last one compared to Vampire Survivors, this one compares to Potato. It's that side of the Survivors like. So it's like levels of survival. It's like 1 minute levels and stuff that you have to go through, build up, upgrade, next level, all the way through. But the difference with this one is rather than being a potato, you're a robot. So all the kind of world is more created around kind of upgrades and electrical parts and all that, but there's a slightly different upgrade system. Like rather than it just being a shop, like you've got almost an upgrade panel and they're all little hexagons. So you then kind of create synergies between the hexagons, a little bit like when we were talking about Asgard's Fall, when you have those a little bit like that, but more just slightly smaller, so not as complex as that in terms of you can power up and get numbers. It's just more this one's next to this one, and on a certain like cell, then you get an extra upgrade boost and stuff.
Right.
But I've only played the demo, and I was very impressed with the demo, so I would recommend if you like Potato, you will like this, I would say.
I love the way you say
full game out now.
Potato as well.
What? Potato?
Yeah, I always pronounce it bro-tato. Like a bro-tato. But you say potato.
Like potato?
Like potato. Not like my simpleton bro-tato. Cool. Any more in Survivor's Corner?
I have one more. Right. So this game comes as a Hand of Fate tale adventure. Apparently Hand of Fate is something I've never heard of.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it on the Switch eShop several times and thought, I don't know if it might be a deck builder. There was something that made me want to try it.
I think it might be. So this is Hordes of Fate, a Hand of Fate adventure, and the demo for this is coming out in the 15th, so I've had early access to the demo just to check it out.
Nice.
And this one is like Deep Rock. So if we're going for likenings, it's a shame Lewis isn't here to do some Lewis's likenings.
He'd love this.
He'd love this. So this one is very much in the Deep Rock Galactic Survivor likening in terms of how it's structured, that you basically have 5 levels for each run. So you start your first one, you have the little bar, and you like at a certain point you're going to get a mini boss, and then at this point you're going to get a supply chest, and at this point you're going to get the boss, and then you need to leave to go to the next level to complete the 5 to finish.
Yep.
The difference here is where with Deep Rock Galactic Survivor you're collecting things. This one is more like some of the things in the upgrade are more like a deck builder style. So it's almost like a cross between a deck builder and like a Dungeons and Dragons quite thing. Like it'll give you ran into a goblin and this happened, and then these 4 cards will come up and you've got 3 different things, or you could have failure and 3 that get success and one's get great success, like almost like a dice roll to a certain extent. And it's very much it's like very much like Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. I'm assuming skinned in this Hand of Fate adventure without the collecting of minerals for upgrades and stuff. There's other things in there to collect. The only thing I would say, and this is very much a demo, and just go and check it out. If you like this series, you like this genre, then there's no harm in checking it. It just felt a bit slow. That's the one thing I would say. But it's just a demo. These things can get tweaked. But other than that, it seemed quite cool in terms of adding that deck builder kind of Dungeons and Dragons kind of bit into it. So, yeah, looked fairly nice as well.
Yeah, another interesting twist on the formula. So that the demo is out, what, today?
15th.
The 15th, right?
No, the 15th.
So today, day of release.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the other one, Gunbot Diplomacy, did you say that's the full release on the 13th?
The full release on the 13th.
So that's out. That's out now. Basically.
Yeah.
Of the three of them, then, if you had to recommend one, yet another Zombie Survivors, Gunbot Diplomacy, or Hordes of Fate, what would you go for? I've only got
probably
£8.99 in my wallet. What should I buy out of those three?
Right, it's hard because two of them are demos and one's like a fairly fleshed out early access. But I mean, I think Gunbot Diplomacy maybe has the most potential for me. But I really like Rotato, so it might be that's coming through. But I think they're all good. I've really keep going back to get another Zombie Survivors. Like there's something about it. I quite like when the helicopter comes over and just like takes out a big horde for you. Like it's just quite nice about it.
I think the way you've described them, that yet another Zombie Survivor sounds like the one I'd be most interested in. It sounds like it's got the most almost like old school, because there's something about ordering a strike, an airstrike in a game. I don't know why. I just love that.
I like just scalping something with loads of grenades and things like that.
Exactly.
It's just the most,
Just press a button to make everything die.
You don't even need to press a button, it just does it.
Oh, love it. Love it. All right, well, that's cool. Anything else? Have you finished off, because obviously we spoke about South of Midnight and you tolerated me gushing about that last week, but you've finished that now, right, as well?
I did finish that, Ben, and I loved it.
Good.
It was just everything that you said about it, I completely agree. And then I was listening back to last week's episode, and I think just hearing that music at the beginning again, and you're just like, the music was so good.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny. So I'd got something from Microsoft to basically do how much did you enjoy South of Midnight?
Right.
Survey, and it was like asking you all these things, and it was like, what did you think of the combat? And I'm like, was there enough enemies? Were there too many enemies? I'm like, too many, too much. Didn't really like it. No, I mean, if you could have taken the combat out of that game, it would have elevated it so much. But being able to switch it off basically did that for you. And I think they realised that by the time it was coming out, but it was too late to really. They couldn't just strip it out because it wouldn't have worked if they
wouldn't have flowed,
completely.
would it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be an ebb and a flow and a different pacing, doesn't there? So I think it worked for that.
But I think they knew that themselves by giving you the option of being able to switch it off. But it doesn't take anything away from it because I think the storytelling, the world, like the music, it's just fantastic.
Yeah. And the bosses, I don't think we even mentioned the bosses last week, but I think
they were very good.
Yeah, really good.
And even the whole cast of characters, like the granny, she was such a good character, and they all were.
Yeah, no, that is it's another special one. Good old Game Pass again.
On a roll.
Second best deal in gaming beyond patreon.com/The Mimics Veil. Plug. Yeah. I'm going to take a leaf out of your book and then play some little indies and we can chat about them next week, I think. Because
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I am spent from big games.
I mean, another. Now just remembers one other thing I was going to talk about, which I did play.
Go on.
And that was SpreadCheat, because this is just a little game, and it's just when you said little games here. And like,
Yeah.
you'd mentioned this game to me, and like, Alex, have you seen this game? This is an Alex game. And like, it's very much an Alex game, and it's another one. I think 90 minutes or something, and you're through it. I think you really, it's only on PC. It might be okay in Steam Deck, but I think you really want to play it on a PC. And it's essentially a little like
Can
old
confirm
school.
it does not work on Steam Deck whatsoever.
Does it?
I
Did you
did
try
try it and it is fucked. So yeah.
No, I didn't think it would, but essentially it's like, it's almost like opens up as a window on your screen in your desktop, like an old part of Windows. And it's this little, all it is really, you have to solve these little spreadsheet puzzles, and you're given 9 cells, and it basically says the last number needs to be, and the cells in each of the puzzles will like have a different formula or different, and you need to drag the different numbers or calculations into the relevant cells to get to the right value. But all these numbers have reasoning, because basically you've been taken on as the employee of this company who has just basically this really dodgy guy and controls. So you basically just covering up for your boss the whole way through this game, whether it's his fiddled expenses, whether it's all the money he's spent at the strippers, whether it's the money he's spent on escorts, whether it's what he's done for paying off his secretary. He then buys you a shark for $6,000, and you need to hide the money for the shark. Like, it's just all these random little things, and it's just silly. Like, one of the things you need to do in between the puzzles is clean up his desk after the party, and there's like this blow up doll on the floor and all these random like drugs all over here. And then there's one point where he's like, "Oh, I've got some lines lined up," and you're just like pulling over, dragging over these lines of cocaine. It's just so bizarre.
Amazing.
But it's just funny. Like, it's really, really funny. The actual, like, there's 3 different levels. You can play like normal level, expert, and like hardest or something. And like, they're really quite tricky little puzzles. Like, even though it's only like 9 cells, like some of the numbers are pre-populated, and then you then working out. It's almost like a puzzle just to work out what cells you can use and what the formulas are doing before you even start to try and solve it. So it did kind of occupy me through a workshop during the week. So, yeah, it was.
How fitting.
It was good. Yes.
Obviously, I recommended it to you because I know you love a spreadsheet, but also the aesthetic of it reminded me of Nubby's Number Factory a little bit, of like just deliberately shit. Like,
it's very much old school Windows. It's like Windows of like 25, 30 years ago, like, and it's supposed to be. And it does even like, there's a little bit, I can't remember what it's called. I'm sure I've written this down. Let me check. But it's like, do you know how you got Clippy in the old office? You had Clippy, but it's a little pencil, and he says, "I can't be called. You might have known me as Clippy, but for copyright reasons, I'm not allowed to be called Clippy anymore." And I'm thinking it's called like Pompey or something. No,
right.
Corpy.
Right.
And it's like Corpy's seen things. He keeps telling you. Like, I'm sure Corpy has seen things. But just very, very fun.
That's cool. Looks like a cute little way to spend a couple of hours. Very nice. Well, Alex, question for you. Are you ready to play the first ever solo round of Guess the Outro
TIMEBOMB? I'm not quite sure I can handle this pressure, Ben.
Without the big dog here to take all the weight. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. But you know what to do, Alex. We've been down this road many, many times.
I do.
I'm going to give you 10 clues, and you guess the game that I'm thinking of.
But you're going to not be gobshitey since I'm on my own.
I will. If you need, I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
I'm going to start off gobshitey and then get more helpful as we go. So your first clue, number 10. This game was submitted by 2 patrons. That is a first as well.
That is a first. Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, I see what you did there. But no. Not Baldur's Gate 3. Number 9. Indie. Yes, it's an indie.
Oh, it's an indie. Blasphemous.
No, not Blasphemous. Number 8. Top-down perspective.
The proper top-down.
Top-down perspective.
Not like isometric. So
I said what I said, bitch.
yeah. Hotline Miami.
Feels weird being rude to you when Lewis isn't here.
I know.
I'm sorry. I take it back.
It's more nasty. This isn't a very nice date in this pub, Ben.
Sorry. Sorry, what was your guess, sir?
Hotline Miami.
No, not Hotline Miami. Number 7, single and multiplayer.
Among Us.
Nope, not Among Us.
That's not a single player, does it? No.
Number 6, it's a sequel.
Hotline Miami 2.
No, it's not Hotline Miami 2. Number 5, this is one of 10 games submitted to be considered for preservation by the Library of Congress. Others include Tetris, Doom, and Super Mario Bros. 3.
There's got to be something pretty decent then. Stardew Valley.
No, not Stardew Valley. Great guess, though. Great guess. Number 4, cult following with a massive influence on later games, including a recent spiritual successor.
A recent spiritual successor.
And just a peek behind the curtain, I threw in the word recent at the last minute just because you're by yourself.
Oh, okay.
So
Thank you.
That's my one being helpful bit. So there you go.
I'm really struggling to think of top-down games. But it's probably like staring me in the face.
Would it help if I pretend to be Lewis at this stage?
Yeah, go for it.
Fucking Night in the Woods. There you go. That's me being helpful again.
Night in the Woods.
No, but well done, you two. No, do you want me to do... Okay, number 3. Made in our fair United Kingdom.
Oh, a British game. Or is it Scottish? Is it English?
It's British.
And it's famous. It's for preservation. No, that would be gobshite if it was Grand Theft Auto 2. That was top down. Would have been indie at the time, potentially.
It would have been.
Grand Theft Auto 2.
It's not Grand Theft Auto 2, but that's a fine guess. Number 2, released in 1994.
Was there indie games that long ago?
Loads of them. Not indies as we think of them now, but if you think... Yeah, back then.
What would be a recent spiritual successor to something? Or could this be something like Castlevania 2? That's not as top down, no, is it? Castlevania 2.
No, it's not Castlevania 2. This will help you, though. Number 1, originally released on Amiga and Atari ST.
How will that help me?
You're a nerd. Again, sorry.
I genuinely have no idea.
Top down, Amiga, spiritual successor. these clues floating in your mind.
They are floating in my mind, and it's this recent spiritual successor, and I can't think of anything that's come out recently that's been top down in the single player and multiplayer back in 1994 on an Amiga. Oh, could it be something like Pong or something like that? Or Pong 2? Or Breakout 2? Super Breakout?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
It is not Super Breakout, I'm afraid. And the bomb goes off in your face. Sorry about that. It's always going to be trickier, isn't it? But the actual answer was, if I tell you that it was submitted by Grumpy Mark and Luke, would that help at all? Possibly not.
I mean, I knew it was going to be Mark, but it doesn't. I can't think what it would be.
Okay, so it is Sensible World of Soccer.
Ah.
Yeah.
I would never have got that.
No. I don't know if I would have got it. I might have got Sensible Soccer, but Sensible World of Soccer I'm less familiar with. But yeah, they randomly both submitted that game. Luke recently and Mark ages ago. So I thought, well, since two of them have submitted it, it would be rude not to. We might as well use it. And also,
it's a classic.
It is. Quite surprised that it was on that list of 10 games to be preserved, though. Like, I know it's super influential, and obviously Sociable Soccer is the recent spiritual successor, right? But yeah, to see it that, given that amount of importance, despite what is objectively the worst outro song we've ever had. It's got some charm to it. We've had, it's something else. It is unique, shall we say? I'll give you some of the lyrics here, Alex, because it's got lyrics. Get ready for them. You're a goal-scoring superstar hero. You let your hair down and play to the fans. You're a goal-scoring superstar hero, and every goal says you're the best in the land. So that is what we've got to look forward to now.
I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah. So the one we're going to listen to is simply just intro theme from Sensible World of Soccer by John Hare and Richard Joseph, featuring the beautiful vocals of Jackie Reed. And that is from Sensible World of Soccer.
You're a goal-scoring superstar hero. You let your head down and play to the fans. You're a goal-scoring superstar hero. And every goal, that you're the best in the land. Goal-scoring superstar hero. You let your head down and play to the fans. You're a goal-scoring superstar hero. And every goal, that you're the best in the land.
Passes to Morgan, passes to Gibson. Oh, it's in the back of the net. I don't believe it. They've scored.
Goal-scoring superstar hero. You're a goal-scoring superstar hero. Goal-scoring superstar hero. You're a goal-scoring superstar hero. Goal-scoring superstar